All right, we're doing another one of the Homeric Rhapsody things. This is probably gonna be a quick one because I have to be somewhere on the hour, and it's close to the hour. So the setup is that King Eëtion and his queen Tecmessa, the character I invented, which I found out actually there is an Amazon character named Tecmessa, which I totally did. If I knew that, I only knew it subconsciously. I was basing it off the Tecmessa that Ajax has as a captive woman from one of the raids, and I figured maybe she would tie into this, but maybe this would be my thing where I'm combining both of those Tecmessas into one, similar to how in a lot of tellings of Greek mythology, they combine the Kronos, who is the father of Zeus, and the Kronos, who is Father Time, into one character who's like a Time Lord character. Anyway, the Tecmessa needs to convince Phoenix, who they're holding captive, to help them. Here we go. And thus Tecmessa, that radiant queen, with all her jewels and all the wiles that were given to her by Aphrodite upon her being visited, even that fragrant mist surrounding her, and that wondrous girdle which could lure any man out of his senses, she came equipped with all the things that woman can bring upon a man. And she entered the tent, and Creon, that herald of Eëtion, who was attending to Phoenix, stopped his preparing of the meal, and he came, and he spake unto her, My lady, what brings the honor of your presence to our tent? Is there some order from Eëtion or yourself that Phoenix must present himself to the army, or some other thing befitting a prisoner? For we were just sitting down to our meal, if you would like to join us. And she, the flashing-eyed Tecmessa, had spoken. Nay, it is not something where for Phoenix to be presented to the army, nor is it something befitting a prisoner, but rather one befitting someone I would like to be a comrade, someone with whom we would like to make pact. And now I would ask you, good Creon, who has always served well our lord, my husband, Eëtion, to vacate the tent, so that I may speak to Phoenix, the two of us alone. Thus Creon quickly gat him gone, and left the cooking to Phoenix, who was sitting there round the fire, alone now. And he looked up and saw her with all her charms, but would not allow himself to think any thoughts that might put him in league with the enemy, for he knew who he stood with. And he spake, I suppose you have come to try and coax out of me some sort of help. That is, I assume, why you have brought me. No, don't try to deny it. I have seen too many come and go who have brought with them the cunning of you and your husband, that lord of the city. I say that I will never assist this city of Thebe as long as it standeth opposed to Achilles and mine. For though you have treated me kindly, I cannot deny that. I have been spared no expense, but I am still a captive, staying away from my people and my army. Who knows how many of those who fought under me have already been chewing the dust and are buried down below some cairn at Troy. Nay, I would not help the likes of you, not for all the gold in 7-gated Thebe, or even 100-gated Thebe, or Thebes. That one with the gates that open wide and can support 7 horse abreast, coming out, which is said to be filled with gold much further than your single Thebe is. Nay, I would not do this thing for all those treasures under the sun that Helios' chariot shines upon. Tecmessa saw him and was amazed at his kingly splendor and at his restraint and all the loyalty that came with his appointment as Lord of the Dolopians and that advisor of that glorious fleet-foot Achilles. And she took a step closer into the room, preparing to speak. All right, I didn't know how to end that because I don't have time to give her a speech right now. But okay, so we had a very small moment where she basically takes 2 steps into the room and that's it. But it was a kind of nice little thing because we got sort of a few little pieces. Is kind of an interesting dynamic with Creon, this character of the herald that I created, who, if you remember in the previous one, he's like raised up by the king because he did him a service or something. So the king raised him up from poverty to be this like herald. And he's apparently pretty well respected by the king and queen, who treats him, you know, on speaking terms and sort of honors his name. Phoenix is initially hostile, which I guess is expected, and we'll see how Tecmessa turns the tables on that, or if she can turn the tables on it. But yeah, not so bad. Still pretty stilted. We got a couple of nice little moments in there. I kind of stole Homer's, like, totally stole Homer's thing where Achilles is angry and he's talking about how he wouldn't, you know, take the prizes of Agamemnon and fight for the army, not even if he has a way better speech where he's saying, like, not even if his gold were as many as all the grains of sand, or, you know, all the stars in the sky, and not even if he gave me as much gold as stands in the 100-gated Thebes, which I thought was an interesting pull. You know, I was coming up with it at the moment, and I was pulling it initially just because it's convenient, because it's like it's easier to pull an existing quote or a similar quote than it is to come up with a new one. But as I was saying, I was thinking like, well, this is kind of interesting because this is Thebe, singular Thebe, and he's like almost comparing this Thebe to the plural Thebes as being like inferior because it's only a single Thebe, which I thought was kind of a interesting little weird insult to give to them. Yeah, that's about all there is to really say about this one. We'll see what happens in the next one.